Greetings. My name is Madut, and I am a South Sudanese anthropologist currently working at a university in the United States of America. I would like to comment today on one aspect of the ongoing conflict and violence in the Republic of South Sudan. When the conflict started in December of 2013, pitting the government of President Salva Kiir and forces loyal to the former Vice President Riek Machar, the level of violence that followed was utterly shocking to South Sudanese and the rest of the world alike, not just because of the gruesome nature of that violence or the speed at which it is spread to the rest of the country, covering nearly a third of the whole country, but also due to a number of almost unprecedented acts of violence, especially the issue of sexual violence against women and girls. Now, sexual violence has always accompanied conflict. In South Sudan, as it is in other wars, gender based violence was documented as a widespread experience in the course of South Sudan's liberation wars at the hands of South Sudan's soldiers against their own people, but most especially by northern Sudanese government soldiers who used it as a weapon of war in South Sudan's garrison towns like Malakal, Bantiu, Wau, Torit, and a number of other places. But sexual violence at the scale we have witnessed in the context of the current conflict, especially in Juba in the first few days of the conflict, and in Bor, Malakal, Bantiu, and a number of other locations subsequently, committed by soldiers on both sides of the divide, was nearly unprecedented. While it was often reported and documented in previous wars, sexual violence by South Sudanese was certainly most uh, disheartening, but it was not systematically used as a weapon of war. It happened sporadically and most definitely in the domestic settings, at least as far as the record shows. But to see or hear about Nuer and Dinka men now raping women, killing children, and destroying property at such a scale as this conflict has revealed is extremely distressing and revelatory that a new war ethos is afoot. These two communities have always had their rivalries and violent confrontations, but they have always seemed to view such confrontations as confined to men, as a duel between men, to show one's physical prowess against the opponent, not a drive to wipe out the other community. In fact, there are stories of Nuer and Dinka men who did not even chase after the enemy fighters, who have fled from the battle scenes, let alone women and children, as the goal was to defeat and not to annihilate. The developments of the past year have left many people, myself included, wondering how to reckon with the current situation, how to make sense of it all. If there were communal ethos that safeguarded against these ghastly acts, as we have seen in the current conflict, what is broken in the social and cultural fabric of these communities to allow for such acts to happen? My view is that while the events of December 15th through the 18th in Juba may explain what happened subsequently in the rest of the conflict areas as revenge attacks, one can't avoid thinking about previous wars of liberation and the burden that they have left on the shoulders of every community in the country. Many acts of violence, the injustice that was done to communities and to families in the course of the liberation drive, all of which were often swept under the carpet in the interest of keeping South Sudanese ranks intact for the big cause and in hope of being dealt with after the war, have certainly remained as evidence of lack of accountability, lack of justice, lack of equity in the distribution of the gains of independence. But as we look toward the future, it is unavoidable that we will have to reflect on these experiences, current and historical, not just how to prevent sexual violence today or how to end the current mayhem, but also how to do so with justice, how to unearth the truth of what happened to who did what, for there will never be peace without accountability and justice. No deterrent from these heinous crimes if no one is ever held responsible for them. Thank you.